Hello you guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebekah Jade and I have lost over 16 kilos in the last 12 months while being on a GLP-1. The GLP-1 that I have been taking is tirzepatide, also known as Mounjaro. And I say recently, probably about 8 weeks ago, introduced Retta as well into my peptide regime. But today we are going to be talking about the things that I believe everyone should know when starting their GLP-1 journey, things that are going to help you amplify your results and things that aren't often spoken about. You know, I've been on this weight loss medication for a year now, so I've got a lot of experience. So I've been writing down some notes today and I want to share with you all the ins and outs, whether you are starting your own GLP-1 journey, or honestly, these tips are even relevant for anyone that is just wanting to embark on their own weight loss journey. Maybe you don't want to be on a GLP-1, maybe you just want to lose, 10 to 15 kilos yourself. Then what I'm going to share with you are literally points that will absolutely change your life, because I know that they have changed my life. So I believe that there's going to be something beneficial for you here. Okay, so the first thing that I want to share is that GLP-1s don't actually burn fat. They make it easier for you to create a calorie deficit. Okay, so what this means is that the medication reduces your appetite, but at the end of the day, you still have to eat enough protein. Okay, there's a lot of like clickbait, reels, social media articles, stuff like that going around, essentially saying that people that are on GLP-1s lose all their muscle mass, their bones get really brittle. There's a lot of comments like, I can't wait to see how their body looks in 10 years when, they've lost all their muscle mass and all that stuff. Now, I refuse to believe that, because I literally have been focusing on my protein intake. Now, don't get me wrong, GLP-1s are incredible. They quieten your food noise. They allow you to stay in a calorie deficit a lot easier because you're not thinking about food. You don't get a lot of hunger cues. You get some, but nothing crazily. So it allows you to stay in that calorie deficit a lot more effortlessly. But at the same time, you can't use that as an excuse. Yes, you may not be hungry. Yes, you may not be thinking about food. However, it is really important that you do eat enough protein every single day, because if you don't, then 100% you are going to lose your muscle mass. Your bones are going to get brittle. Your hair will fall out. Your skin will absolutely, react. So it's so important to prioritize protein before anything else. For me, I have been prioritizing 100 grams of protein a day for the last 12 months, and I have been aiming to sit at around 1,400 calories to 1,500 calories of food intake every single day. Now, that is a decent deficit. Here's the truth, I could easily just eat 1,000 calories a day whilst being on this medication, easily. And some people would think that you should do that. They would be like, milk it. You're in a calorie deficit. You're not feeling hungry. Like, literally eat as little as possible. But the thing is that is going to affect your long-term health drastically. If you stay in that much of a calorie deficit for so long, like your hormones, and I'm not a health expert, okay? This is all just like my own research and everything like that. Like your hormones, your hair, your skin, like you need to be eating calories. It is so important that you are fueling your body. But the beautiful thing about these GLP-1s is that you don't have a lot of cravings for bad stuff. I know for me, like I literally can't eat fried food while being on these GLP-1s because I will vomit. It just counteracts, and you can get really sick if you're eating too much takeaway, too many fried foods. And I don't have a sweet tooth, whereas before being on these GLP-1s, oh my God, I craved sweet things all of the time. Like all of the time, I just wanted sweet things. Whereas being on this GLP-1, it's allowed me to go, okay, I'm not craving sweet things. And so what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to still eat. I'm going to maintain a decent calorie range. I'm going to hit my 100 grams of protein a day, and I'm going to make better food choices because I'm not having any of those cravings that I normally would. So with saying that, you know, when you are on this medication, it does give you appetite suppression. So when you start to eat your meal, don't be surprised if you feel satiated like halfway through your meal, right? It happens often where I'm like halfway through my meal and my body literally is like, no more, we're done. Do not put a single mouthful in this body because you will be sick. So what I've learned is that obviously protein is absolute king. So therefore what I do is I make sure that I'm eating my protein first. Whereas before, what I would do is I would eat all the stuff I didn't like the vegetables, and then I would leave the protein to last as like a reward. Like, good job, girl, you ate your veggies, you can now have your meat. Whereas now I have the protein first, and then if whatever's left, you know, I fill that with the veggies and stuff like that. And so that means that I am supplementing a lot, and I will link all of the supplements that I've been taking in the description of this, like in the show notes. Is it called show notes, description? I don't know. So if you feel like you need to supplement, because for me personally, I know that I have had to supplement. I've had to supplement my fruits and my vegetables. I've had to supplement creatine. I've had to supplement, what else am I taking? I'm taking capsules for my libido and my hair. I've been taking capsules for sleep. What else am I supplementing? I'm trying to think. Magnesium. I supplement magnesium as well. So there's a lot of things that I'm not getting in my diet, and that's okay. You know, I try my best, and then whatever I don't get in my diet, I will supplement instead. So that's what we've been doing, and it has been, you know, it's been working. Something else that I want to say is when you are on these GLP-1s is don't chase the highest dose, okay? So something that I've learnt firsthand is I would just increase my dosage. I mean, I got up to 10 milligrams on tirzepatide. I've now brought it down to 5, and I'm having 2 milligrams of Retta every 5 days. So that's working really, really well for me, and I've been really open saying that soon I'm going to come off the tirzepatide altogether, and I'm just going to stick on the Retta. And because the Retitude, it gives me a lot of energy. Whereas what I found is when I was in like a plateau, or when my weight wasn't shifting, I would be like, right, let's increase the dose. Let's keep moving the doses up. And I would be increasing like every month. Like I would stay on a dose for a month and then I would increase. But what was happening is, what I was noticing is that I was getting more fatigue. I was feeling more flat. I was like, my serotonin levels, that's something else that I think a lot of people don't talk about, is because these GLP-1s work on your serotonin pathways. Therefore, the things that brought you joy, like food, don't start to bring you joy. The things that would give you a dopamine hit, like watching TV or scrolling your phone, or even like making love with your partner, it doesn't do that anymore, because it literally essentially blocks the serotonin and blocks the dopamine, so that, you know, you're not looking for that from food. But it can't just block it from food, it blocks it from all areas of your life. So the more that you increase your dose, not only do you get tired a lot quicker, but then you're also, you know, reducing your dopamine levels and your serotonin. Like you'll notice that things don't make you happy like they used to. You'll notice that sometimes you just feel flat, and sometimes things don't make you laugh. And something that I noticed too is like my libido was affected. That's why I take, you know, supplements for my libido. But I used to have a really, really high sex drive, and I noticed that, you know, completely kind of got, what's the right word? It got watered down. I don't know how to say it, but you know, it's a lot harder for me now to get into the mood and to be like, yeah, let's do it. Now I'm like, I'm too tired, like genuinely I'm too tired, or I just can't be bothered. So that's what I noticed is, don't be so quick to just increase your dose because you're not seeing results. Instead, if you're hitting a plateau, and that's the other tip, is like plateaus are really, really normal, okay? don't forget that when you're losing weight, your body will stick to comfortable zones, okay? So there are certain kilos. I think when I got to like 64 kilos, my body was like, we're comfortable here, let's just hang out here. Even though I truly knew that like I had a lot more weight to let go of, but my body was like, no, we're fine. Like, let's just chill out here. And I think even when I got to 70 kilos, I mean, I started this when I was like 77, 76 kilos. When I got to, I think 70 kilos, my body was like, let's just chill. And so I've had a lot of plateaus, like months, okay, of just nothing moving. And immediately I would want to increase my dose. Whereas now I look at, first of all, what am I eating? What am I eating on the weekend? I don't know about you, but I love to be a lazy girl on the weekend. I love to get, takeout, and I love to go to a cafe, and I love to do all these things because I don't really want to cook at home. So I was like, okay, what am I eating on the weekend? That's the first thing. And what's my output like? And what I did from there is I increased my output. So before I would get about 3 sessions in at the gym, and then I would aim for about 7,000 steps a day. Now that looks like it completely different. So now what that looks like is I aim for 10,000 sessions a day, 10,000 steps a day, 6 days a week. So 60,000 steps a week. And I aim for 4 gym sessions. Now my gym sessions are 2 HIIT training sessions and 2 strength training sessions. And that works really well for me. And so rather than going into these plateaus and increasing my dose, I've gone, okay, let's look at the food, and let's look at my output, and let's make some tweaks. Now, by doing that alone, like I've spoken about this in another vlog, but by doing that alone, I've been able to lose, I think it was 5 kilos. Let me check. Yeah, I lost 5 kilos in the last 8 weeks, which is really, really good for me, because I average about 500 grams, I should say, sorry, a week. So that's what I would say is don't just like be so quick to increase your dosage, okay? Some people will start on the 2.5 milligram and they will just stay on the 2.5 milligram because they just see incredible results and they kind of like to microdose it. And then other people, will they'll get up and then they'll hit a certain point that they like, and they will just stay on that. Another tip is like, don't stop exercising just because you're eating less. For me, I got to be honest with you guys, I used this medication as a little bit of an excuse there for a while, right? It was like, I know that I'm covered by this medication, therefore I'm not gonna, do as much output. I'm not gonna show up to the gym. I'm like gonna let myself have the excuse that I'm not eating as much, so I'm like tired and I'm not gonna show up to the gym because I can't be bothered. And I really had to nip that mindset in the butt, because it's really important for me that I focus on the life after being on these GLP-1s. Like, I don't want to be on this forever. At the end of the day, it is a peptide. At the end of the day, it is a medicine. I don't want to rely on this my whole entire life. I want to be able to come off of this. And so it's like, I need to make sure that my mindset is right and I'm not falling into the trap of like, oh, I'm protected by my GLP-1, so I don't need to train today, or I'm too tired because I haven't eaten enough today. So really kind of mentally keeping myself in check and being like, no, I want to be the healthiest, the fittest version of myself. I want to build muscle mass. And so it's important that I do show up. It's important that I do get my steps even when I can't be bothered. It's important that I do clock into the gym even when I don't want to. So that has been really, really important. Now, another tip that I have is that the scale, it lies more than you think. For me, there was times when I would hop on the scale and it would show that I hadn't lost any weight or I'd gained a few 100 grams, but then I would put on my clothes and my clothes would be like hanging off me, or they would feel a little bit looser, or I would just feel a little bit more toned in my body. Do not rely on the scale solely and wholly. Like, yes, I've been weighing myself once a week for the last 12 months and I've been documenting it, and I document it mostly for this purpose so I can share with you my results and all these things. But at the end of the day, I don't let the scale affect me mentally. If I jump on the scale and the scale says that I've gained weight, or the scale says that I haven't gained weight, I am not letting that bring my mood down, letting it bring my energy down. Instead, I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I jump off. And instead I kind of gauge like, how are my clothes feeling? Like, how is my skin feeling? That's, I think, the most important thing. You could even do like measurements. You could even measure, you know, thighs, arms, hips, waist, all of that stuff. And even taking photos. I think it's so important having photos, even if they're just for yourself. You don't have to show anyone. But sometimes I forget how far I've come. And body dysmorphia is 100% a real thing. Sometimes it's like you don't realize how much weight you've lost or the progress, because you're literally looking at yourself every single day, multiple times in the mirror. So you're seeing the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. And it's not until you look at a photo of when you first started and you're like, whoa, there is some serious change here. So I would urge you to, yes, track with the scales, but don't let it affect your mindset. Don't take that as the only thing as feedback, and instead jump on the scales, document your weight, jump off. Right? Look at the photos, compare photos, and more importantly, like, how do you feel? You know, do your clothes fit a bit better? Are they loose? Do you feel toned? Do you feel like sexy? Like, oh my gosh, you know, I feel light today. Like, that's the thing that I would, you know, focus on. The other thing that I would say is fiber. Really, really important to focus on fiber. And if you have to supplement it. Something that I was doing was I was having psyllium husk. You can just get it from your grocery store in like the health food aisle, but psyllium husk is incredible for fiber. You just mix it with water, shut it back, you know, or you could even put some on cereal. Like in the morning when I was having some cereal before I would go to the gym, I would sprinkle some psyllium husk on it and have it, and I didn't notice a difference. I couldn't taste it because it was in the cereal. But psyllium husk, or even an apple a day, having leafy greens, chia seeds, you know, yogurts, vegetables, stuff like that. Fiber is so important. And the reason why fiber is important is because being on this medication, it slows down you emptying your bowels. That's the whole point. It keeps food in your body for longer than normal because that allows you to feel fuller for longer. Okay, so it's keeping the food in, and so what happens is you're more prone to constipation. Like, let's be real about it. You're more prone to like discomfort, feeling like, you know, you're bloated, feeling like you're a bit heavy in your tummy and stuff like that. So the fiber really helps clear that. Now for me, I aim for 25 grams of fiber a day. And that's really helped me clear out my bowels, because when I first started taking this medication, I had no idea, you guys, I had no idea about fiber. And I was just like, what's going on? Why haven't I been to the toilet yet today? So really important that you make sure that you are getting enough fiber. Now, the last tip that I want to tell you is that healthy doesn't have to mean boring, okay? Throughout this journey, I have not been eating just chicken, rice, and vegetables. That's not me. I am not that girly that could just stick to that. Instead, what I've been doing is, first of all, I don't restrict myself, okay? I know there's going to be foods that I just will not eat because they're going to make me feel rubbish, like anything fast food, like a hash brown, I don't know, deep fried chicken, like anything like that. I know it's just not going to make me feel good. It's going to make me feel really crappy. So I'm not even going to attempt to have that. But then there's things that I genuinely love, like a pizza. I love a pizza. So once a week we do family pizza night. We put on a movie, we order some pizzas. We've done that since the very beginning. I have not stopped doing that. I will make homemade brownies or homemade cookies. And then I tweak things and I make things healthier. So the other night I made homemade steak sandwiches, like pub style. This week for lunch I'm having chicken Caesar wraps, yogurt bowls. I put a bit of Nutella on it because, you know, again, sweet tooth, not crazily at the moment, given what I'm on. But, you know, I make these tweaks, and I just want to let you know that, yes, you are on this incredible journey and I'm so excited for you. But you don't have to have everything. It doesn't need to be boring. You don't need to restrict yourself. You don't need to say no. You'll find that you can eat certain foods a lot better now because it's going to be in moderation. So you won't want to have the full box of pizza. You'll have probably 2 or 3 slices and you'll be like, okay, I feel good. I'm fine. You know, you won't want to have a big bowl of ice cream. Like, you'll probably have a kid's serving size and you'll be like, okay, I'm good. So don't restrict yourself. Just remember that there is going to be life beyond this season of your life, And it's important that you get your foundations correct. You are moving your body. You are eating a healthy, balanced diet. You are focusing on protein and getting your fiber in. You aren't, letting out external things affect your mindset and the way that you see yourself. So I just feel like I need to let you know, because sometimes we can get so caught up in this world that we forget that there is an end goal. Like, what's your end goal? At what point do you plan on coming off of this medication, and how do you want to feel long term? How do you want to look? What healthy habits do you want to maintain long term after this medication? And start focusing on them now. It is so important that you start focusing on them now. You become that person that identifies and has the identity of those healthy habits, of those values, so that when you eventually do, get your results, and when you do wean yourself off of this medication, nothing's going to change. You're going to maintain your weight. Everything's just going to be smooth sailing. I hope that has helped you. If you have any questions, you guys know I'm an open book. If you want me to riff on any other topics about this, put it in the comment section below. If you love this conversation and if you want more of it, you can definitely follow me on my other social media platforms, because I'm always posting on there. Again, I'll put everything in the description box. But yeah, this journey has just been amazing. And if you're on it for yourself, you're gonna have the best time. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, been a really good decision of mine that I made for my health a year ago to, introduce a GLP-1 into my life. And I wish I did it sooner. But anyway, I love you and I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.